Everyone, the Lakers and Myles Turner. We know that the Lakers almost traded for Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. They were going to pull the trigger on the deal up until the media day and then decided not to. And many people want to see this trade go through. Many people want to see the Lakers go out and trade for Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, or at least trade for Myles Turner. Myles Turner seems to be the player that people want the most. Also, Myles Turner has made it publicly known for the Lakers to go and get him, essentially, right? He said that he would have them take a real long look at him. He knows what he can provide. He knows what he could bring to that team. So he clearly wants to be a Laker based on what we've heard and what we've seen. The Lakers have some interest in him, but they're a little hesitant to trade for him because of the assets that they'd have to give up, and they're not sure if he will make them, take them to the next level or not. Now, I wouldn't mind them going and trading just for Myles Turner individually, which could end up being a possibility as well. Maybe you go and trade for Myles Turner and then maybe look at like the Spurs deal and go get like Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott, maybe work out something along those lines. Because you could take you could take Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, package them together and go get Myles Turner. And then you could use Russell Westbrook to go do a deal to go get, several pieces from like the Spurs, or maybe you go look at the Hornets deal, something like that, right? Go look at some other deals, but go get Myles Turner, right? Myles Turner, Anthony Davis, front court would be arguably the best in the entire league. You'd have defense, you'd have size, you'd have shooting, you have versatility, you'd have a lot of things. There are some concerns with Myles Turner, injury history, as well as just his fit next to other bigs. He's had issues and struggled before. He doesn't really solve some of the Lakers' biggest needs, like rebounding. Yeah, his rebounding can help, but he's only a 7 rebound a game guy, so he's not like some elite rebounder that's, pulling down 10 to 12 rebounds a game. Though I do think that he could help just by committee, stuff like that. And then also just the biggest concern is injury history. He's a guy that also wants 20 plus million a year. So if it doesn't work out, right, you're kind of stuck. And that's a big concern, because if you go and trade for Myles Turner, you got to extend him, right? You don't want him to leave and walk away and you lose him for nothing. And now you just basically gave up your assets for, a 5-month rental or whatever, right? That's something you don't want to happen. So you're basically at the mercy of whatever Myles Turner wants. And now the Lakers might have even more pressure to go and trade for just Myles Turner, or go do the deal for Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, because reports are coming in that the Clippers are interested in trading for Myles Turner. Now, here's the thing. Myles Turner on the Clippers would be fantastic for the Clippers. As painful as it may sound, it really would. Like, one of the Clippers' real only weaknesses is the center position. Outside of Ivica Zubac, they have nothing. They have a couple rookies and that's it. They have no center, no size down low, and it's been a problem for them, right? That's something they really lack. They have an incredible ensemble of wings, right? They have an overabundance to where they should consolidate some of those guys and go get a center. It was something I was saying in the offseason over on my other channel, As It Stands, which if you're not subscribed to As It Stands, go subscribe to As It Stands. I'll have a link down in the description below. But I've even talked about the Clippers. Why didn't they pursue Myles Turner in the offseason, especially when you knew he was available? Because, he's a guy that would fit in seamlessly. He could spread the floor, block some shots. He solves all of the Clippers' holes, where he doesn't really solve all of the Lakers' holes, right? So if you're the Clippers and you can make a deal for him and you can trade some of your wing guys to go and get Myles Turner, you do that. The problem is who on the Clippers would the Pacers want? And not only who on the Clippers would the Pacers want, would they value the Clippers' assets, right? I mean, obviously they want to get something from Myles Turner, right? But what would you rather bank on is that if you go and you trade Myles Turner to the Clippers and you get a pick now, right, or in the next few years or whatever, Clippers are going to be good for the next few years. You're not going to get a very good pick, especially if they have Myles Turner for the long haul. They might be the best team in the league with Myles Turner, right? So it's okay, do we want assets now that are going to be basically a crapshoot that we're basically hoping that turn out to be good, or would we rather gamble on the Lakers post LeBron and Anthony Davis and assume that they're going to be terrible and kind of just wait it out till then. Hopefully by then we have, like a Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson along with Halliburton and all the guys, all the young guys, all those guys that we have. And, now we have these assets that we could either trade or, draft and maybe put us over the top, whatever. I think that that's a real question that the Pacers would have to answer, because if you trade him for picks now, those picks really aren't going to help you very much unless there's just some guy that you absolutely love with like the 20th pick, or 23rd pick or something like that, right? Like you're not going to get a good draft pick. And on top of that, like what player are the Clippers going to want that is very likely going to be a long-term salary, because pretty much all of the guys on the Clippers are multi-year deals. And yeah, maybe they want some of like their younger guys, like a Terrence Mann or maybe a Luke Kennard, somebody along those lines, Amir Coffey, maybe like a Boston Jr., somebody like that. Maybe they want pieces like that. But I mean, what other pieces are you going to attach? Because you got to match salaries and stuff. So is any of that stuff enticing to the Pacers? Do they want to take on any contracts? Like Ivaka Zubac, are you going to trade him in the Myles Turner deal? Because to me, that's kind of redundant. That kind of defeats the purpose, right? Because you're basically just trading one solid center for another center, where I think you're better off having one be the starter, one be the backup, and now you have your depth. I completely understand why the Clippers want Myles Turner. I just don't necessarily see why the Pacers would want to do the deal with the Clippers for the pieces that they have. Now, maybe if there's nothing else on the table and the Lakers don't bite, then I think that they'll just, hard pass. But I don't know. I don't see the Clippers landing Myles Turner, and maybe it's just me. Maybe we get an announcement tomorrow or something that he's been traded. I just think that they could do better than what they would get. And at that point, I mean, if you have to take back salary, then you might as well just let Myles Turner walk. You know what I mean? Like, because at least you clear some of your cap space, unless you're trading Buddy Hield and Myles Turner for like several pieces. But even then, like, what are you getting? Like, and here's the thing. This isn't new. Like, this report, like these reports were out in the offseason that the Clippers were considering talking about Myles Turner. Again, I talked about it on the As It Stands channel before I had this Lakers channel. So it's not like this is some new revelation, some new details. And they weren't able to get a deal done for him the first time. So I don't see what's changed. And, how many assets are the Clippers really going to be willing to give up? Like, the reason the Lakers draft picks have been so, like, highly coveted, and why, like, even, like, some execs, you see those interviews, we've even talked about a couple where, teams just really covet the Lakers picks, is because so many teams think when LeBron leaves, that's it. That the Lakers are going to go right back to, the post-Kobe era, where they're terrible and they're just a bad team for the next 5 years until, some new group of stars come in and save them, which could be the case. But that's how a lot of organizations are looking at the Lakers picks. So the reason a lot of people want those Lakers picks, preferably both of them, is because a lot of teams think that those picks are going to be lottery picks come those years. And they might not be wrong. But what you do know is that if you trade Myles Turner to the Clippers, you do know that you're not getting anywhere close to a lottery pick. And so if you're the Pacers, do you value that? Like, some people might look at it as like you're better to get what you know now rather than, but look, worst case scenario in 2029, 2027, those picks are what the Clippers picks are now, right? I mean, that's worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you're getting the same picks from the Lakers that you got from the Clippers. The only difference is you're pushing those 5 years into the future, when hopefully if you're the Pacers, you're good. Your idea is that, like, you don't want to have to worry about, like, having to keep drafting guys for the next 5 years, right? You want to be good enough come 2027, 2029 to where you can take those picks and then now package them to another team, right? Like, that's probably the goal for a lot of these teams that want the Lakers picks. It's not like, or if it really is like, say, a bottom 5 pick, well, then now you can keep it and you got a top 5 player to add to your already good team. That's the goal. That's the hope. But the thing is, like, would you rather get the for sure thing now, which is somewhere in the 20s as far as a pick goes, or would you rather get what could be a number 1 pick 5 years from now, and worst case it's in the 20s, right? Like that's what they're looking at. That's why I think it would make more sense for them to wait for the Lakers deal. But look, if the Clippers can get Myles Turner, watch out, because they're going to be really scary. And this could also, just because it's worth mentioning, because we've heard this on several occasions, this could just be a ploy to get the Lakers to bite. I mean, it really could be, because the Clippers were interested in the offseason. So were several other teams, but none of these teams have made the deal and made the move to go get Myles Turner. The only team that we know that had a deal locked up, ready to go, and could have pulled the trigger on it was the Lakers. That's the only team that we have heard that absolutely had an opportunity to get Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. That's the only teams we know. Now, so could this be the Pacers' way of like adding pressure to the Lakers? Like, hey, Lakers, you're not doing very good. You're looking pretty bad. You need some help. Oh, you don't want to do the help? Well, your help might be leaving. You're trying to be patient and you want to see what you got, but we're getting ready to trade Myles Turner to the Clippers. So if you want Myles Turner, you better pull the deal. You better make the deal happen now. Like, I wouldn't mind if the Lakers went right now, like right this second, package Beverly and Nunn and traded them for Myles Turner and give up 1 first. I wouldn't mind if you took 1 first, Patrick Beverly, Kendrick Nunn, and you went and got Myles Turner. Like, I wouldn't be upset with it. I don't think that that's going to like change the tides of the Lakers, but I wouldn't be against them doing that, because you'd still have 1 first and you'd still have Russell Westbrook to where you could do a big trade if you need to. And you have Dennis Schroeder and you have Thomas Bryant coming back. So maybe with Myles Turner, Thomas Bryant, and Dennis Schroeder coming back, maybe with those 3 kind of, because you got to remember, Thomas Bryant and Dennis Schroeder have not played for the Lakers this season. They played in preseason, but it's not the same thing as a regular season. So if they come back, and Dennis Schroeder played, I believe, one game. But my point is that if those 2 come back and Myles Turner comes in, well, now that's 3 guys that you're adding to the mix, essentially, right? And the Lakers have already been in most games, and I've talked about how the Lakers really need about 3 or 4 pieces, 3 or 4 players to really like turn this season around. Well, if Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant come in and they actually have a real impact, and then you go and trade for Myles Turner, maybe now you only need like 1, maybe 2 guys, or maybe you don't need guys at all. Maybe Myles Turner comes in and plugs in at the 5. You got Davis at the 4. You got Schroeder at the 1. You got, LeBron at the 3, and then you got Walker at the 2. And you have Russ coming off the bench, and Troy Brown and all of that, and maybe that is something that'll help. Like, I've never said that I don't think Buddy Hield and Myles Turner will come and help. I just am saying, like, there's a lot of risk and concern with both Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. I've actually said I would prefer them just going and getting Myles Turner, because at least you have flexibility and you don't have to give up both first, right? Because if you're giving up both first for Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, well, then you'd only have to give up 1 first for Myles Turner. That's how it should be. And I think if the Lakers are willing to give up a first for Myles Turner, I believe that the Pacers will do it. I really do, because they're tanking. They don't want Myles Turner. Myles Turner doesn't want to be there. Myles Turner's leaving. They want to get the best asset possible for Myles Turner. And the Lakers' potential pick 5 years from now, as crazy as it sounds, 5 years from now, that is the best asset that they could get right now, because, like I said, 2 things are going to happen. Either A, you're getting a lottery pick, or B, you're getting the same type of pick you're going to get right now. So either way, who cares? And the idea is that you're not going to be terrible for the next 5-6 years. You're going to be good, as you move forward. You're going to get a lottery pick this year in this year's draft. You have some nice young talent. You're building. They're going to develop, and now you're a legit playoff team in 2027. And now you're adding that Lakers asset to your team, whether it's through trade or whether it's whatever. And now you're trying to get that piece to take you over the top. That's sort of my thinking. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think that Lakers go trade for Myles Turner right this second? Don't lose him to the Clippers. I do think, though, I will say, if the Clippers get Myles Turner and that team is healthy, I think that's the best team in the league. I really do. Kawhi Leonard is a big problem. Like, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I assume the goal for the Clippers is to just make sure he's healthy come playoff time, because I don't think they really need him for the regular season, right? I don't. I think they'll make the playoffs with Paul George and the team that they have. I mean, they were pretty much a playoff team last season without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So I think with Paul George, they are a playoff team. You add Myles Turner to that, they're definitely a playoff team. And then you add Kawhi Leonard come playoff time, they're probably the best team in the league, especially if everyone's healthy, and that sucks. So I mean, the Lakers might want to just trade for Myles Turner just to keep him from the Clippers, if that's really the case. Like, if the Clippers are really trying to get Myles Turner, the Lakers might want to just trade for him just to keep him away from the Clippers, because that's the last thing you want if you're the Lakers. The last thing you want is Myles Turner going to the Clippers, a team that's already had your number and beaten you, like 11 straight times or something crazy like that. Like, that's the last thing you want. But again, however you feel, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comment section below.